Hi, this is Callie. I hope you've been keeping up with building kingdom families with purpose on purpose in the YouTube videos. I just want to tell you today is one of my favorite stories, but it really also breaks my heart at the same time. But it is a warning and it is an instruction for us as a family in the kingdom of what not to do. Okay, let's look at 2 Kings chapter 20. And I'll just kind of tell you what it's about. Hezekiah was a great king, and he got sick, and he was really, really sick. Isaiah the prophet came to him, and he said, "Okay, God says you're going to die." And Isaiah turned his face to the wall and said, "God, extend my days. Please remember all that I've done and how good of king I've been for you. Remember who I am before you. Have mercy on me." And God, before Isaiah left the courts of the castle, God told Isaiah, "Go back and tell Hezekiah I will extend his days for 3 weeks or something like that, or 3 years." And so anyway, later on though, Hezekiah does a lot of things. He collects a lot of weapons and different things, and the enemy comes in, and he's prideful. So he's showing these visitors all of his great things that he's done. Isaiah hears about this. Now, this was not what God wanted King Hezekiah to do. And he didn't inquire of God about showing everything all his weapons in his castle. And so Isaiah comes back and he tells Hezekiah, or he asks Hezekiah, "Did you do this?" And Hezekiah said, "Yes, I did. I didn't hold anything back." And Isaiah said, "Because you were so foolish, because you didn't inquire of the Lord, then you will live in peace during your lifetime, but your children and your children's children will be carried off into captivity." Now listen to Hezekiah, this man that just before that had turned his face to the wall, had the ear of God, and prayed and interceded for himself. He says, "Whatever God says, let it be so." It sounds so religious, so perfect. It sounds like such a good answer. But he didn't even intercede. He didn't even ask the Lord. He didn't even pray about what Isaiah was telling him. Instead, look at 19. So sad. Because he says, "Whatever God wills." And then Scripture says to himself, he was thinking in his mind, "At least it won't happen during my lifetime." That crushes me. Hezekiah was only concerned about his life and what was going to happen during his reign, not in the generations to come. He only wanted to be known as a great king in the generations to come, but he didn't care about what happened to those generations. Listen, our identity, our kingdom family, building our family, we have got to build with faith for the next generation and the generation after that and the 1,000 generations. We have got to keep that in mind in our decisions, in our financial decisions, in our character decisions, in our spiritual decisions. What we do and what we set up is only for our kids to stand on so they can go further. We have told our children from the very beginning, where we go in the Lord should be your floor. You should stand on our shoulders and go so much further in the kingdom, so much further in intimacy with God, so much further in prayer, so much further as a battle axe to be used in the nations, so much stronger, so much wiser, so much more generous, so much more. Do you see? We don't have to go, the generations after us, they don't have to go around the same mountains we're going around. They can build on our shoulders and go further. Our decisions are for the next generation. Our decisions, our character is only to open the door wider so that the next generation can go more easily through and be more intimate with the Lord. My family on my mom's side, there was a heritage of not so good. There was some pretty ugly things that happened. There was some murders. There was some basically child sex trafficking, if you want to call it that, but very young marriages, children being given away at the age of 12 to be married. There was all kinds of things going on. But I had this great aunt, and she stood up in the midst of that and received Christ. And from that point, my grandma and my great uncle, they became followers of Christ. And my identity in the Lord widened. It's not like it wasn't secured that I was going to be saved. It has to be my choice. But what happened with my great aunt and then my grandmother and on through my lineage, my mom and my dad, they opened the door wider for me. They made the path more clear for me to follow and to see Jesus. That's what we want.